Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, viewers at home. Now, with its inclusive designs, I'm joined by Ammarah Hoosen, a talented author and illustrator who has created Becoming Her. Now, this is a unique modest fashion sketchbook which is here to encourage self-reflection, artistic expression, and a deeper connection to one's faith. Ammarah, assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah so much for joining us.
Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah so much for letting me talk.
Amazing. We love to have you here. Now, before we get into the book itself, please tell us a bit on what inspired Becoming Her.
I think I waited a really long time before I fully committed to the hijab. I was 22 when I started wearing the hijab, and prior to that, my sense of my Islamic identity was always very subdued. And you know, when you embrace hijab and wear it correctly, and that whole journey, it's really an expression of non-conformity and saying to the world, look, I'm proudly Muslim. And that was something that took me 22 years to get to. And I would love to inspire that in the next generation from an earlier age, to make them comfortable with their identity and comfortable with hijab and modesty and Islam as a whole. The sooner, the better, the easier it is.
You know, I know the aspect of, you know, one's hijab journey is always unique to another. And I think this question that I'm about to ask is something that will allow others to truly understand it. And this is to ask you in terms of when you speak about not truly understanding your Islamic identity and having to now have 22 years to embrace hijab fully, what would you say are some of the factors that brought that hesitation, if I can call it, and what was something that made you say, you know what, out with the old, in with the new me?
For me, it was the sense of the interconnectedness between racial identity and like faith-based identity almost. I think I always struggled to fit in a one racial space, and whenever I was labeled as something, and often going to like private schooling, you're the only Muslim in your grade, and that sense of, okay, I'm different, became a racial difference until I realized that I don't need to fit into any racial category because my religion's given me my identity. And that understanding is what I think drives the confidence that I can come forward now and say, you know what, I am very proudly Muslim. I'm not shy of being a Muslim girl, and I would love that for little girls also to experience that sense of pride.
Certainly. And then coming back to the book, what unique elements exist in the book that makes it quite, you know, different to what is out there?
So I know that we all grew up with like little design model books, but they're never focused on Islamic identity. They're never focused on when do you ever find a hijab sticker even included, you know? So this book is kind of stepping into that and saying, look, you can have fun even when you are in a hijab. You know, being modest and dressing modestly need not be monochromatic or boring. You know, there's self-expression in your own way, so long as you're fulfilling the commandments that Allah has given us. So that's I think the unique aspect that this book offers.
And with that, Ammarah, can you please talk us through the creative process? Because I can just imagine, you know, as someone who's embracing the journey to say, I'm going to adorn myself with hijab. Yes, there are some challenges where you want to wear that particular top, but you now have to make it work for you. And now creating a platform, if I can say so, that allows others to also have the creative juices. Please walk us through your creative juices to creating this.
Perfect. So the first one was, I mean, every day, right? Every day you wake up, you have to put on an outfit.
Yeah.
So I've divided the book into 3 parts. The first part is her everyday. So it's what do you wear every day? You know, you're playing with outfits. Okay, I have a corporate event, those sort of things. Freedom, you know? No prompts, nothing. It's open to the user to interpret. The second part of the book is called her modesty, like her sparkle. It's a sense of, it's a challenge that girls face sometimes when there's a special event, say graduation, say a wedding, something like that. We want to take our hijab off because everyone's been put on display. We don't need to do that. We can look beautiful and we can feel beautiful still following the commandments of Allah. And so the second part has exactly that. It has specific prompts that encourage girls to create outfits that give them confidence when they're going to a tea party or going across their stage of graduation. And then the last part is playing with colors, because I think that's something that I found was very big for me when I went into hijab, was this idea that now I can play with different colors, the matching, or, you know, which colors go with which, and I really had fun with that. So I wanted to give little girls an opportunity to play with their colors a little bit.
Certainly, that's lovely. And I think my biggest struggle is always wanting or looking for a certain specific shade of a colored scarf.
Yeah.
Because as right now, I love how you're wearing
Aw.
in my eyes right now, it might not be pink, but it looks pink. And I'm loving how your scarf is sort of complementing, and it's not even the same shade or like it's like particularly same like, you know, as the dress you're wearing.
Right.
So this is some of the struggles that hijabis go through, where someone is like, "But you have a red scarf." I'm like, "No, there's a
It's
certain
not that red."
shade
Yeah.
of red that I want." Loving it.
Yeah.
And with that, Ammarah, I want to find out, what were some of the challenges that you, or hurdles that you were faced with in creating this book? Because oftenly when we talk things around deen, there's that, you know, sense of, I must make sure that what I'm saying is the truth, doesn't, you know, impose what Sharia has to say, or doesn't impose what, you know, whatever fatwa is out there in that sense.
So for starters, I think I try to not allow difficulties to come into my creative process. So in terms of the actual design process, I try and perfect my design process and then fact check and say, okay, is this in compliance? So the one thing I did want to do was understand that different madhabs, for instance, or different schools of thought follow different beliefs on what your actual aura is. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity for a little girl to sit with her mum and discuss. Like, I, for one, cover my feet, but I know a lot of other girls don't find the need to cover their feet. So that sort of conversation is open to, you know, it's the creative freedom exists for those things to happen. In terms of other struggles, I think currently I'm just trying to make the book very accessible.
Okay.
And printing costs are a lot. So I'm currently hunting for a publisher and places to find affordable sticker printing and binding and printing so that I can distribute the books to a wider range of our girls. I don't only want upper middle class girls to be using this. I do want to have orphanage drives where we're encouraging these books to be given out, you know, during dawah or those sort of spaces, you know, that's close to my heart.
And my next question now is, how exactly does your book help, you know, individuals connect in terms of with their faith? And I think this is looking at, you know, the struggle, as I mentioned earlier on, is finding the right shade of that scarf. But then at the same time, you understand the idea of Islam doesn't really, not to say it frowns upon it, but it doesn't encourage us having so many clothes as one person, but also having that contentment to work with what you have.
Right. So I think just in that, the book is so open to interpretation. I've left it pretty blank for the user to use their creative freedom. The only thing I have done is on every page, each of the girls are fully clothed in hijab. They have pants on to full length. They have covering their full arms and they have a hijab on. How you choose to then decorate that, color it, or make it a dress, it's your choice, you know. So your exorbitance is your personal choice. It's your journey. I think that's the thing. We can't impose this perfectionism immediately offset. It's a very difficult journey, and making those first steps is better than pushing it aside completely and saying, when I get older, I'll learn about hijab. So, yeah.
And the when is forever there. Hey?
Exactly.
And now coming back to, how do you believe, you know, modest fashion can empower women as well as promote self-confidence?
I think we need to stop promoting perfectionism, be it skin imperfections, be it this idea that colors suit skin tones. It's so outdated. You know, if you've got dark, beautiful skin, wear whatever color you want. Stop telling girls that because you have darker skin, you shouldn't wear this color, and you shouldn't, especially in our beautiful Rainbow Nation. And that's something that I did try to bring into the book, because I've used girls in my life that inspire me as each of the models, and there's a lot of racial diversity there, because I also want to showcase that a white girl wears hijab and a black girl wears hijab, and it's okay because we're all Muslim. What do you mean, you know? And that's really just hijab in a South African context. That's what we're trying to show. Yeah.
And for viewers who are quite so excited about hearing about the book, where can they get it and how much is it?
At the moment, as I said, I'm still working with
Yeah.
the prices and rough estimation. So I do have a pre-order list that I'm compiling. So
Okay.
if you'd like to order, you can check out my QR code that I think will be shared, and you can just scan that and follow along on Instagram through the creative process. I'm enjoying sharing that creative process, and then after that, just pop me a DM and I'll add your name to the pre-order list. And as soon as it's published, inshallah, we'll let you guys know.
And in closing, Ammarah, when somebody is getting or finally is in touch with this book, what's the one thing you're hoping they take away from experience? Because I don't want to say reading the book and experiencing the book.
I want I want them to know that there's no such thing as perfectionism. It's your book and it's what makes you comfortable. You'll get the perfect hijab at some stage, inshallah, but take a step forward. Take the first brave step and everything will fall into place, inshallah.
Ammarah, Jazakallah so much for
Jazakallah
joining us and
khair.
really sharing in what becoming her is all about and what becoming her is hoping to achieve. And we pray that Allah grants you so much ease and blesses you in every step that you take. Because after all, every girl would love to wear hijabs, just that they are also facing their little challenges and the identity crisis in terms of, especially our generation, fitting in, it's always the issue. And hopefully through this book, it's going to be something of the past. But Jazakallah so much for joining us.
Jazakallah so much.
Viewers at home, that was my amazing guest, Ammarah Hoosen, who is the visionary behind Becoming Her. Now, certainly make sure that you get to be in the list. And how can they be part of the list? Please share. Okay. And your name on Instagram?
My name on Instagram is Miss Smarty Pants, Miss_Smarty Pants.
Miss underscore Smarty Biz. Now you heard it from Ammarah herself. Certainly send her a direct message and be part of the individuals who get to explore this book, and hopefully identity crisis and the idea of, when I grow up I'll wear the hijab will be a thing of the past, and all of us will be wearing our beautiful hijabs in different shades, colors and prints. But for now, let's head over to your net break. We'll see you on our return.